What's up, everybody, and welcome back. On today's second episode of painting the Hypercarbon X, we're going to be spraying the base coat of white on there. Now, this is a 2X 2-in-1 primer and paint. So you can see right there, it's made by Rust-Oleum. It's a high gloss white. And what we're going to do is we're going to spray this as a base coat. That way we can put our decals on it, on here and the head tube, and whatever other decals I decide to put on it. And then we can put our main coat on it, which is the blue that was in the first video. And then when we get done, it's all good and dry, we can just straight take and peel them off, and boom, we got a perfect painted in decal. That's white, no stickers, all paint. That's how I like it. And in the first video you saw, or if you missed it, what we did was we stripped it, scraped all the decals off, sanded it all down to where it's all smooth. Everything's all smooth, got a good surface for painting, and we washed it and we let it dry for a whole 24 hours. And now that that time has passed, what we're going to do now, I'm going to set it up I'm going to hang it, and we're going to get to painting on it. So let's get ready. Let's do it. Alright, so I want to go over some of the tools that I'll be using. Of course, we're going to have masking tape. It's made by Duck Brand. It's just 1-inch masking tape. I guess that's an inch. And then what we have here is called a tack cloth. And what that does, before you get ready to paint it, you want to go over the whole thing. And this being tacky or sticky, it'll pick up any dirt, any dust, any debris off the frame. That way it makes sure it's nice and clean and it doesn't leave any sticky residue or anything behind. And then we're going to have a ball of string that we're going to hang it from. And that way we can, we ain't got to move it around, on the stand to paint it and risk messing up the paint. And of course, like I showed you a second ago, the 2X Rust-Oleum high gloss white. So now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get this thing hung up and get it ready to paint. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and tape off our threaded bottom bracket here so we don't get paint in the threads and risk messing the threads up with the paint. And once I'm done with that, I'll trim the excess tape off and we'll flip it over to the next side. Give that a good push down. And we're going to take our razor blade and we're just going to trim the tape off. And now it should come off as a circle. Awesome. Now flip it over. And we'll do the other side here. Give it a good squish. Take our blade and do the same thing. Just go around it. Alright, take this tape off and it should be a circle. Just like that. Now another thing we'd want to tape off are, of course, our holes for our brakes. Right here, and I have a bolt in this one. This is what I'm going to hang it by. is this bolt right here, so I'm not going to worry about putting tape on any of this hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tear a little bit of piece of tape off, and I'm just going to have enough just to cover the hole. I'm not going to try to tape it or cut the tape or anything like that. I just want to tape the hole. Just like that. I'm not going to worry about the seat tube right now, because of course you're not going to be spraying paint directly in the seat tube. Another thing you want to do is, of course, you want to tape off the hole for the headset bearings, and we're going to do that the same way. But except this time, you have to be pretty careful, because this is where the bearings go. You don't want to mess that up. And I'm not putting enough pressure down to gouge the carbon or anything like that. I'm just putting enough pressure to cut the tape. Go. Now we're going to do the same thing on the bottom, but you've already seen me do enough of this, so when I see you again, it'll be hung up. Okay, now since we have it hung up and ready to paint, we're going to go ahead and take a blue shop rag, the kind that doesn't leave any fuzz behind, and we're going to give it a good wipe down, and then we're going to go behind that with the tack cloth. Make sure we get all the dust off of it. Also, make sure you wear gloves, that way you don't get any oil or contaminants off your fingers or your hands onto the prep frame. Now we're going to take the tack cloth, open it up, and give it a good wipe down with the cloth. Alright, now that you have your frame wiped down with the tack cloth, now the moment of truth. Now it's time to paint the white on the frame. So you give your can a good shake, get the paint mixed all good in there, and let's go ahead and start painting. Okay, so now that we have our first layer of base paint on, we're gonna go ahead and put our second layer. That's right, we're gonna have 2 layers. That way it's just even more protection from the elements, from rocks, from rock chips, stuff like that. And this time, I'm definitely gonna wear some face mask PPE. Totally forgot to do it. I know y'all are gonna call me out for it, but you know, give me a little break. I totally forgot about 90% of the way through putting this first coat on. So yeah, always wear your PPE. Don't be like me and get a bunch of paint dust in your nose. So okay, with that being said, let's go ahead and apply this second coat. It's been about 45 minutes. I'm not going to even touch it. So it should be pretty enough dry to add a second coat. So let's go ahead and get into it. Paint did go on really good. I really don't see any bad spots except you know, typical orange peel. And it looks really good. I really kind of just want to leave it this white color, to be honest, but I've already got my plan figured out, and we're gonna go over it with the seaside color, the turquoise. Okay, and with that second coat being on there, we're gonna go ahead and call this video kaputs. And in the next video, we're gonna go ahead and put our stickers on the white, and then we're gonna go ahead and put our second color on, which is gonna be the seaside green. It's like a teal color. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with me and you know, learning with me how to paint this bike. This is my first bike I've ever painted. So hopefully it comes out really good, and I think it is, just by the way it's looking now. Don't see too many blemishes with it there. So like I said, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me and helping me paint the bike, and I'll see you on the trail.